Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling. And I really appreciate you guys making some time out of your schedules and your day to check the video out. It's always appreciated. And you guys are going to be happy you stopped by today because I've got a modification, a tip here I'm going to show you on this core tackle hover rig setup that I figured out on my own last week at Table Rock Lake that is definitely going to add up to a lot of bites for you guys over the next few months. So we're going to get into that in today's video. And also guys, just a quick reminder, since it is almost December, we have our winter lake map breakdowns up on the website at fishandmoment.com. These are a great resource for you guys to learn more about your favorite lake and get some good jerkbait spots, A-rig spots, little swim bait spots. I'll put the lake map breakdown link in the description of the video if you guys want to check out what we got there. So much appreciated. Okay guys, here you've heard me talk about this quite a bit, and you will moving forward, is the core tackle hover rig to be used on a swim bait here. This is rapidly became my favorite jig head to use for a lot of different reasons. You got a lot of different videos, you can refer back to it. But anyway, what the deal was, is I was down at Table Rock Lake last week, and I had the cover rig on. I just had it set up just on a little Mega Bass Hazendong shad. And by the way, guys, I'll put the Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys want to get you some hover rigs and some Hazendong shads that I'm talking about in this video. If you use that link, it's a good way to support the channel. But I was using just the straight setup here, you know, sort of the shad pattern, Hazendong 3-inch, a 1/16 of an ounce hover rig head. And I was catching a few fish, but I got thinking about it. It's like, what if, it's like, this is sort of a translucent, this little Hazendong shad is sort of translucent. And what if I could make a Bloodline in there to like, the water was real clear at Table Rock, and I was catching spotted bass around, I was throwing it around like the big floating, like the commercial docks. I was throwing the Hazendong shad next to the commercial docks and reeling it down the side, and that's how I was catching them. Catching a few, but what I did is as I started thinking, it's like, what if I could create a little Bloodline here, and the hover rig would be a perfect way to create a Bloodline because the hover rig goes inside of the bait. It doesn't stay on the outside. So this is what I did. I took the hover rig and I painted it red. You can see right there in there, and like I said, it depends on how you hold it up in the light, you can see a little bit more, but I painted it red to create this sort of a Bloodline looking thing. And guys, when I put that little Bloodline in there like that, it's like the bites, I got doubled on it. I think the first dock I went to, I caught 2 on it. And then the second commercial dock I went to, I caught like 7 or 8 on it. Now, I don't know if it was the dock or if it was the modification on the hover rig. But guys, when you get this in the water and you see this Bloodline on this translucent swim bait, it just looks real. I mean, it looks like something that is edible. It looks like something that's live in the water. Not that this doesn't without it, but there's just something, you can see the difference in the two, just a little bitty subtle bit of red there, you know, like makes the Bloodline. And sometimes that makes all the difference, because if you figure that a bass can find a minnow in the pitch black dark and eat it simply because of its different senses out there, you can bet that when they get up close to a slow moving swim bait like this and they study it, if this little thing's going through the water like that and all of a sudden they're sort of tracking it and the thing flashes just right and they see a little bit of like red in there that makes it look like it's a real fish, that is when they gobble it. And I just think it had a lot to do with it. I just came up with it on the water. Now, all I did with it, guys, is like I said, you can get the hover rigs at Tackle Warehouse through the link, but you can get the fingernail polish from your girlfriend or your wife, red fingernail polish, and just simply just paint the hover rig head with it. It's very easy to do. And you couldn't do this with a traditional jig head because the traditional jig head, all of the weight is on the outside, and you just have a big glob of red on the outside of the head, which it doesn't look natural. Like there's not any bait fish out there that has a red head. But when you take the hover rig and you put it internally inside, then it creates that Bloodline that's a lot more natural. So it's just another one of those subtle modifications, guys. I've always been somebody that tinkers with baits quite a bit. And I learned a lot of this from my buddy Aaron Martins, because Aaron, he would spend hours just like painting scales on stuff and little bitty stuff that most people would say, "Oh, Randy, that's ridiculous. They're not going to study, or the bass aren't that smart. They're not going to think about it." Well, try to tell Aaron Martins that, because he spent hours doing stuff like I'm talking about here. And I think that when you when you can create a more lifelike appeal and presentation from a lure, it's always going to add up to more strikes. It's not only going to add up to more strikes, especially if the water's clear, sunlight conditions are a little bit brighter, but it's also going to give you confidence knowing that you're doing something that somebody else hasn't done. But anyway, if you guys want to try this was the situation. Water visibility at Table Rock where I was fishing, it was about 6 foot clarity. These docks that I was fishing, the commercial docks, the outside of them, they had anywhere between 30 to 60 foot of water on the outside, partly cloudy day. And what I was doing is I was going to the outside of the docks and I was making a long cast parallel to the outside part of the dock. And I was counting it down probably 15 to 20. Then I'd start reeling it. And then I'd start working around the sides of the docks. And most of the fish were like on that outer 2/3 part of the dock, anywhere between 10 to 20 foot under the water. So it's just something to try, guys. Put it on 6-pound test, Seagar and Vizex line, little megabass, Hazendong shad 3-inch, 1/16 of an ounce, core tackle hover rig. It will get you some bites. So anyway, guys, links are in the description for all that. Much appreciated. We'll talk later.